Oh, hey, hi, everybody. Boy, if only you could have been with us just a few moments ago when we were nerding out about the peculiarities of the German language.
Aufgepimpt.
Aufgepimpt is apparently how you say pimped out in German. And doesn't it just sound so much better? Yeah, so hi, everybody. Hi, everybody watching. Hi, all you who are joining me this month. How is everybody?
Hi.
Doing well.
Doing well.
Doing well.
It does my video. I'm just
one at a time.
I'm at
an
AnimeCon.
Yeah, you're at some random geek. You're at KimuraCon, right?
Yeah, well, right now I'm at the hotel in Butte, Oregon. But yeah, the con's in Portland, Oregon. But yes, I'm going to KimuraCon, which is why I'm wearing my Sailor Moon sweater, complete with the sweat. And I might as well show off the new thing. I got the leggings for it too.
Nice.
To toe Sailor Moon attire because I'm that guy.
And because of your microphone, it sounds like you're broadcasting from the moon, which is not a bad thing, by the way. It's very cool.
Houston, we have a problem.
Connection, maybe it's the Wi-Fi.
We've reached KimuraCon. You know, something like that. Oh, and there's
your
a giant cat
leggings are always so amazing.
Yes, I wanted to introduce you to my other cat.
Ah, yes.
Kitty!
This is just a well-disguised secret network for the cats to exchange messages, just like bags.
Exactly. Everybody else's cat is secretly watching their webcam and going, I got it tonight.
Well, I've got at least one cat in here. Morris is flopped out on my wife's desk, and we've had one or two cats in and out, which is sort of standard procedure here. But so what else is new?
The Iran situation is reaching a head, but we're going to need to put some more pressure on the Khomeini. Wait, no. Ayatollah.
Ayatollah, you so.
Merlin went into hiding because partner just vacuumed the living room, so the cats.
And the cats don't like the big noisy thing.
No.
Yeah.
But mine is particularly a coward too, so any noise really he goes into hiding.
Yeah. Audie's been like that lately. She gets into these rambunctious phases where she's like she wants to play all the time, and you walk into the room and she'll go row and then go hide somewhere. And then if you don't come after her, she'll like come out after a second and be like, hey, what are we doing?
Fuck, man.
Like
First, I remember Pratchett called that cat's chess.
Yeah. Whoop. And here's Ziggy again. The odd.
No.
Again, famous and song and story. Ziggy, putty, cat. Hello, Ziggs. That's the Ziggy. Right there. He's a good kitty cat.
Please let me go.
Is Cats Chess that game that they play where you follow them around the house as they meow plaintively and you keep asking, what? What do you want?
Well, I told this story before about how Ziggy, who just left, will come in at somewhere between 5 and 6 in the morning, come right up to my head and go, ow, ow, ow. And of course, it's time to feed them. So, and that's become a little less consistent in recent days, but it still happens, which means I typically don't sleep in much past 6:30.
Yeah. See, I do this. We have this routine with me and Audie where she does the same thing where because she sleeps in bed with us most nights. And then when it's time to feed her at God knows what hour, she'll, meow at me or paw at me. And I'll be like, all right. And there are some mornings where I don't think I ever actually wake up. Like I just sleepwalk into the other room and feed her and then, stumble back to bed and just fall back asleep. I have almost no memory of even doing it.
My memory isn't quite so sketchy, I suppose.
Well, I probably should just stay awake. It would be better if I was just up and I'd be more productive. But I was just like, oh, the hell with this. I don't even look at the clock. I don't even know what time it is. I purposely don't look at the clock when I get up to feed the cat because I don't want to know. I'm like, oh, the alarm goes off in an hour. No, I don't want to know. No. I'm just going to go back to sleep and pretend it's like 2 o'clock in the morning and I still have, half the night to sleep.
If you don't know, Simon's cat You should check it out.
Oh yeah, Simon's cat is classic. I mean, you want to talk about
It's amazing.
the classic cat memes. Whoever it is who draws that has it up, down, and sideways. Him and is it Bob or Bill Clibben who did the cat cartoons back when, and I think still does them. Because you've got Clibben's Cats, you can look that up. Yeah, just Google it. There's all sorts of wonderful cartoons.
Yeah, cat. I mean, maybe it's because I'm a cat person myself, but cats are one of those things where it's like, it seems like everybody who has a cat thinks that cats are fascinating and hilarious, and for the most part they are. You know what I mean? Like, it's very seldom for me that I'll see like a cat based something and it won't connect with me. I won't be like, oh yeah, that's definitely it. You know what I mean? It's like there's this universal, language.
I like both cats and dogs, and they're very much yin yang. Like they have their advantages and disadvantages, and I sort of love dogs for being that sort of like completely brainless, gregarious. Oh my gosh, let's go for a walk. I love you.
Oh my God, it's food. My favorite.
Every day is just the best day in the world.
Exactly.
But they're also kind of needy, and they're on you a lot, and they're really pack animals. So if sometimes you're just get off me a bit. And cats, like you get home, they're like, hey, you're here, pet me. Like I want some physical contact. That's enough. No, you need to go away now because I'm full up. So later on when I want more, I'll come back. And so that's kind of nice too, because then you don't feel an obligation to entertain them all the time. They're just there doing their thing, and yin yang.
Yeah, I grew up. Go ahead.
That sounds like they're occupying different ecological niches in the human household.
Yeah, very much.
Well, it's that old joke about dogs think you are God, and then the cats think they are God.
Yeah, I was going to make that point too.
Yeah.
I have to say though, recently, over the last maybe a couple of months or so, every time I sit down, I'm watching TV downstairs. Spooky, who is sort of our, he's sort of one of our medium-sized cats. He'll come up, jump into my lap, and he'll either flop facing me just like that or just curl up on my lap, and he'll stay there for an astonishing amount of time. I think he's trying to lay claim to this is my poison, hands off, whatever you want to figure that out to be.
Yeah, well, in case everything goes belly up and somebody like the cat wants everybody else to know, okay, this one is mine.
Like when the apocalypse, this is my food source.
Yeah, the world ends and everybody's dead. The cat's like, okay, dibs, everybody. I don't want to fight about it. We're just going to say right now, this one's mine, okay?
Yeah, I feel like if the apocalypse happened, a lot of dogs would be in trouble. But I mean, a cat, you just let a cat go. It'll climb up into a tree. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, and cats are like the members of the Donner Party that ate the other ones. You know what I mean? They're the ones that are like, look, I'm getting out of this. I don't care what I have to do. I'm going to make it to the other side of this no matter what. So if I have to compromise a few things, look, you were a nice guy. You fed me, you stroked me. It was great, but that's over.
Oh, shut up. You don't need your flesh anymore. I do.
They're really just barely domesticated.
Yeah, I think it's more like they domesticated us.
Yeah.
They're using us. So like we can have shelter, we can have food and water whenever we want it. We don't have to do anything. Let's just see how far this goes.
These humans are disgusting. They're surrounded by vermin. I love it.
Judging by how
if you got shrunk down, if you got shrunk down into like one of those, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, you could probably still order your dog around. But your cat would be like, right, I'm going to play with you, then I'm going to eat you.
Yeah,
You're a lot of fun. I'll take you to my person. Where's my person? Oh, well.
Yeah, exactly. I'll drop you on the front stoop. Then maybe he'll like you.
Yeah, dog at least has the courtesy to wait till you're dead to start eating on you.
Yeah, the dogs, if you died and you were alone in the house and you had animals, the dogs would be looking at each other like, has it been long enough? Do you think it's okay? I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be like, I'm not like a ghoul, I mean, he was really cool to me. But the cats would be like, what are you waiting for?
On you because you've not been moving for a couple of minutes,
No, the cat's like, no, it's cool. I checked. He's dead. Come on.
Normally when I bite him, he howls.
I gave him the bite test, everybody. It's fine. It's good.
This is a good ghoulish topic for Halloween.
Yeah, it's Halloween tomorrow. Exactly.
Well,
or the day after tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
like,
All Hallows Eve.
Yeah, I was about to cite the title you put on this.
My also clever title.
Tomorrow I get to play a plant in a local sort of web broadcast talk show / live show.
Oh, cool!
You play a plant?
Yeah. They made a thing out of that is fake plant that they usually have on set. Tomorrow I'm going to play that plant, and I get to contribute whenever I want. Mostly.
So it's not Little Shop of Horrors?
Yeah, more or less.
So you're a mean green mother from outer space and you're bad?
Perhaps. I probably wear a pumpkin on my head.
I love that. I just love that you could say that and everybody would be like completely on board. I'm going to play a plant tomorrow. Oh, yeah? Hey.
Here's my helmet.
Oh, swell.
Kind of a Jack Skellington thing going on there.
Really? Except not as nice. I mean, more hostile, more,
Yeah, kind of frozen in that. Yeah.
I mean, Skellington mostly was a nice guy, and until you pissed him off. I mean,
very jolly,
old Oogie Boogie learned that one the hard way.
Yeah, he was very. I remember we went to see that movie. We went to see it in school for some reason. Like it was like a field trip. Wow. It was just like, hey, let's give the little brats, something to keep them occupied. I was in 8th grade and we went to see Nightmare Before Christmas, and I had to go to the bathroom at one point, and I got up and I walked out of the theater, and my favorite teacher, my 8th grade English teacher, was sitting outside the theater, like on the stairs to the next level, just reading the newspaper. And I said, aren't you watching the movie? Like, and he's like, I don't really like musicals. And then he's like, oh, okay. Cool. I mean, I don't either, but I'm in the fucking theater, guy. Like,
yeah. And it has such a marvelous Kurt Weill vibe to it, especially towards the end.
Kurt Weill? Sorry, who'd you say? Kurt Weill?
Yeah, as in the the 3-cornered hat, as in Mac the Knife, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
it's the last song of the thing particularly, very very much a cut of that cloth, I thought.
Yeah, and it had a lot of really like unique personality to it. You could tell that it was the product of of an individual or a small group of individuals who had a very specific personality. It wasn't like mass produced, let's have something in here that'll appeal to everybody. It was very much, either like you might not like it. You might watch it and think, I don't really get it. But if you were part of that target audience that really responded to it, you think it's the greatest thing in the world,
So, quick poll: Christmas movie or Halloween movie?
Both. It's always both.
Yeah.
Nightmare Before Christmas, both at the same time.
You can watch it twice within like 2 months. You can like watch it for Halloween, and then 2 months later you watch it for Christmas.
And really get sick of it.
Yeah, like why do we do this? Why do we watch it twice? Why can't we just pick one?
I love that there was a Friday the 13th in October this year. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was my excuse for forcing Jason to watch Friday the 13th for our movie podcast. I said, it's going to be Friday the 13th. We should do Friday the 13th. And
there's a certain logic there.
I was way too scared to watch any of those movies, like either Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street when I was younger. But now that I watch them, I don't think I would have been that scared.
Yeah, I know they're mostly just goofy.
Yeah.
That's funny. I'm the opposite. I have watched countless horror movie during my teenage years and my young adult years, and now I can't watch them anymore because they scare me shitless, and I don't want to. I don't know that because now I think I just want to be entertained and I want movies to make me dream, and my life is kind of shit, let's be honest. So I don't need movies to,
yeah.
Yeah,
don't tell me life is worse.
No, but I mean, I don't want to kill the mood, but with disability and everything, I'm not really always in the best. I'm always in pain and so on. So horror movies, Nah, I'm gonna watch the shitty rom-com.
Yeah, I can relate to that a little bit. I mean, I've the older I get, the more appreciative I am of earnest sentimentality. Like I used to hate that. I used to hate that as a when I was in my 20s, and you know, I was like I was much more jaded, and I was like, no, it has to be serious and blah blah blah, you know. And now it's like, okay, I can watch something, and even if it's like really schmaltzy and really sort of, you know, sentimental, if it feels like it comes, if its heart is in the right place, and it's, you know, I'm just like, yeah, okay, it's not great, but I can't possibly hate it. I mean, what's wrong with making a movie or a TV show or whatever and trying to have like a feel good moment instead of leaving people feeling like shit at the end of it, you know?
I'm a bit too much of a sucker for that. I think possibly from my mom's cue, mostly the unrequited love stuff I'm a sucker for. But
yeah, me
I
too.
think it's a bad thing the way that they portray it. It's
yeah.
I think Say Anything is probably like the least bad of those versions. It's just two people who really sincerely like have a connection but are separated by circumstances. And yeah, he does a thing outside her house, but he does it like once, you know, and it's after they know each other and they've been together and he wants to be back. So it's not like he's pursuing her at that point. He's trying to like make things work out. But there is a lot of that kind of, yeah, you can do sentimentality in a typical predictable Hollywood guy gets girl kind of way, but I think the story
I hate that trope. It's like, oh, she says she doesn't want him, but really she wants him. He's just got to be persistent. It's like, I don't like that.
And I don't know if, I guess maybe it's a mark of how our sensibilities and our awareness has changed over the years, because like I think I mentioned, I tweeted about it recently. I've been listening, don't ask why, but I've been listening to a lot of Phil Collins lately.
Why?
I said don't ask. I'm not prepared to make a case for it.
I mean, something's in the air tonight.
Well,
you just have to accept
music,
this is
so
I like Phil Collins.
Please take me
I
home.
like Phil Collins.
As Alec Baldwin once said on 30 Rock, hey, I've got 2 ears and a heart, don't I?
Come on, that drum solo and In the Air Tonight.
Oh, come on, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, but a lot of Phil Collins' music is basically about him being a really shitty ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like so much.
Music is about that, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. A lot of it is, that sort of opened the door to me to realize. I mean, I was aware of it generally. Like I've been aware of like the rom-com thing for a while. Like that, so many of the male characters in romantic comedies basically are just stalkers who won't let it go. And then they still get the girl at the end. And like there's Phil Collins songs where like there's a really creepy one if you listen to the lyrics of Don't Let Him Steal Your Heart Away, where he's singing to his ex-girlfriend who has a new boyfriend, and he's basically saying, I'm coming back, so you tell that guy to move out. And it's like, Jesus, dude, like, take it easy.
Steve, I'll tell you what, though. On Night Ride Home, Joni Mitchell, the last cut on that album, 2 Gray Rooms, where she's the stalker. Tomorrow is Sunday. Now there's only one day to go before I, blow my window. It's a wonderful song, but she's the one who's stalking somebody that she was in love with 30 some odd years ago.
Blondie has made a song that is
Turnabout Anyone?
A play on that. One way or another, I'm gonna get you. She owns it. She owns it. I love that song.
Yeah, and I mean. And some of them, like even some of the Phil Collins stuff, if you listen to the lyrics, and you're like, oh wow, that's creepy, but they're still good songs. Like I still can't help but enjoy listening to them. And sometimes if the song is aware of it, like if you're writing a creepy stalker song, and that's part of the point, then it can be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of creepy music, what's that song that's just like every move you make, every breath you take.
Oh, the Police.
I'll be watching by the Police.
Yeah,
that's a total stalker song.
The Police. If you listen to the lyrics of their songs, they're awful. Like Roxanne. Seriously, the White Knight. You don't have to. If she wants to, she's.
Just let her make her own choices, Sting.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I heard an interview with Sting once where he was talking about someone told him that they had played Every Breath You Take at their wedding.
What?
and Sting's reply was, well, good luck. It's not the best wedding song.
No. There's a worse wedding song, and Dan Olson of Folding Ideas did a top 7 list of like the worst romantic songs that are not really romantic, essentially. And the top one, oh no, they're good songs, but they're not romantic songs, or most of them are good songs. The worst one is Call and Answer by the Bare Naked Ladies. That's not about like getting together, that's about a breakup.
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
I remember that one. Well, Bare Naked Ladies used to be fucking everywhere. I mean, not in a good way, in the sense of the band.
I've been writing a song. I mean, I have this friend whom, if I'm not careful, if I'm not guarding my emotions, I keep falling too far for her, and then I have to back off. And so I've been writing this song about you're my friend, and I need to accept that. What's wrong with me? You're a really good friend.
That'll never play.
I'm not sure why I don't hear I haven't heard a song like that before.
Yeah. Where's the songs for people who just, you know, are trying to talk themselves out of doing something foolish?
I
just
think
back
it
off.
exists, but I can't think of one right now.
I mean,
I always get pissed when people say rap is sexist, because when you hear the songs of all the white dudes who cry for their girls and whatever, it's so fucking misogynistic. It's less owned, sure, but it's there nonetheless. So
yeah, there's a lot of sexism in that rock music and country music and stuff, but for some reason, people just rock like music, focusing on rap.
I can't imagine why.
I love when fans of old school country music talk about how violent rap music is. Have you ever listened to like a murder ballad from the Carter family, where like, I mean, it's not, you know, it's sometimes it's kind of upbeat and it's like they're singing in harmony, but it's like, and then we drowned him by the river. Like, wow, okay.
Yeah, I love like Boy Named Sue is such a fun song until he gets in a bar fight with his dad and pulls a knife and stuff. It's like, what the hell?
Like, that ran off the rails. Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not horribly well traveled in opera, but I can tell you right now that opera is, I mean, you listen to Puccini, you listen to Verdi, and certainly Wagner as well. I mean, it's all over the place.
Yeah,
it's tragedy, so it's supposed to be that way.
And well, not always. But I'll tell you what, Porgy and Bess is the only opera I'm aware of that actually has a rape scene when Crown goes after Bess.
Yeah.
But it is also the only opera I'm aware of that ends hopefully.
Yeah.
Because Porgy's going to New York. He's going to find Bess. He's going to find sport in life. And I pity sport in life when he does.
Yeah, I mean,
because Porgy killed Crown. I mean, let's be real about it. That's what happened. And Crown thinks he thinks he's all this in a bag of chips. And Porgy, who is crippled from the waist down, basically does him in. Anybody want you? I'll take Porgy in the points, man. Forget about it.
Porgy would have been a good murder ball player. Anybody ever see that movie? It's like about the
never saw it. No.
The paraplegic rugby team. It's a fantastic.
That got covered on the news once upon a time.
I haven't seen that, but I really want to now.
Yeah, it's a documentary. It's called Murder Ball. It's really, really good. And those guys play fucking hard. I mean, it's like one of the most brutal contact sports I've ever seen.
Disabled athletes are usually disabled. Everything are usually pretty intense in what they do. I mean, have you heard Ted Sheeran's jokes?
No. I don't think.
You need to listen to his videos. He's so dark. He's so violent in what he says.
I've watched some of Ted's stuff, and Ted and I know each other a little bit, but I don't get a chance to watch him very much. But yeah, I can believe that.
You should, because he's really amazing. He's one of the funniest. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because he's disabled, and I have a bias towards my sweeties.
Well, I think a bias in favor of disabled people is acceptable. I mean,
because there's a lot of hassles because we are humans, like everyone.
Well, I mean, not in a patronizing way, not in
And disabled men are sexist. White disabled people are racist. I don't know. We are as shitty as everyone else.
Okay, so if Ted ever says something shitty, make sure to let him know about it.
Oh, I will. But Ted is so amazing. Yeah.
He is. Yeah, like I say, I know him.
I really don't imagine it being shitty on any point. To be honest,
he seems like a really good guy.
Now, Porgy and Bess, isn't that where that song "It Ain't Necessarily So"?
It is. First
That's
act.
a great song.
The things that you're liable to read in the Bible, it ain't necessarily so.
Ooh, Lauren can sing.
I'm telling you, he's busting out the pipes this month.
I'll tell you what. I first heard the track from Porgy and Bess. I don't think I could have been more than 9 years old at the time. And then years and years and years later, my first marriage, it probably wasn't for more than a year or so. We were down at the State Theater, and we were going to see the Cleveland Orchestra was doing some concerts there, and I see they're coming to the State Theater, Porgy and Bess, and I thought, fuck, we are there. Yeah, and here's the thing too. I mean, this is something that I've been listening to. I'd had the soundtrack and the original cast album, and you think, well, boy, it's the perfect setup for being let down, because how good's the production going to be? Right. They killed it. Oh, there's this one moment in the third act when Sport and Life is trying to lure Bess away and get her to New York, and he's because Bess is a former cocaine addict, and Porgy's helped to get her clear of it. Porgy, I think Porgy's being questioned by the police about Crown's murder, and Bess is holed up in Porgy's room, and she wants nothing to do with Sport and Life. And finally he says, he takes this little pack of cocaine, he says, okay, I'll leave it here. And you see she just puts it on the door sill or something like that. You see a hand reach out and grab it, and there's film music for a while there, and then she literally explodes out of the room wearing a dress that defines the word red. And she is off in a second with Sport. It's musically and visually, it is one of the most powerful moments I know in almost anything. And I mean, they killed that stupid thing right down to the fact that Porgy had his goat cart, and you see him riding off in it at the end as they're singing, Lord, I'm on my way. And just, it is a, and the thing that kills me is a couple of years back, somebody produced an abbreviated version of it. Yeah.
Oh, really?
They eviscerated it. Just things like recitative. I mean, you think that, just something simple like, I can't remember the name of the character who sings, how you think that boy's gonna get a college education? One note, just so what? If I don't work hard and make money, just simple. And it wasn't there, and it's the step that isn't there, and it drove me straight up a wall.
Yeah, what's that connective tissue? You
have it exactly. Yes.
It's a story. It's not just a collection of songs. It's
and the whole point of opera is that it is sung. I mean, there's the closest that you come to something that isn't sung is Porgy is, when Porgy learns that Bess has gone to New York, and it's not quite sung and it's not quite spoken when he says, "I'm on my way."
Yeah.
And they break into the last song, which is, of course, Lord, I'm on my way.
Yeah, it sounds like, I mean, Hamilton is very similar. I think in Hamilton, there's one non-musical scene in the whole thing, and it's very brief. And it's not even on the soundtrack. Like it's the scene where Hamilton learns that John Lawrence has been killed. And it's just like 2 lines, and then it's straight to the next song.
Right. Yeah, Hamilton's been here to Cleveland, but I mean the tickets are through the roof. I'm hoping it makes it back. I have to say that's one thing I'm very proud about Cleveland is we've got the 2nd largest theater district in the United States after New York. And we almost didn't have any because they almost took the State, the Ohio, the Allen, and the Palace and raised them. It was literally hours away. And somebody came in and said, no, we're going to, and now we've got that, we've got the Hannah, they've got other sub theaters inside, the building that houses those 4. And it's just some fabulous stuff that they do.
Yeah, it's a shame how often that kind of thing happens, where, something like that will actually go through in some historic, or some space in a city where that could benefit the whole community ends up being lost because, short-sighted people just can't think of anything to do with it or don't want to invest in it. I mean,
it's not profitable, so it's not worthwhile.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's like what happens. I mean, when education, they have to cut, what do they cut? They cut music, they cut art, they cut, the stuff that just, it really does bring the meaning to life. I mean, one of I just flashed on this at the Palace Theater. My daughter, I think maybe was 4 or 5 or 6 years old at the time. And who comes to the Palace but Sherry Lewis, Lamb Chop, Charlie Horse, and the song that doesn't end. And it was just a grand time. And Sherry is was a marvelous showwoman. She was just spectacular.
Yeah, I know. Somewhat on topic, and I just flashed on the clause in the U.S. Constitution where it says, and Congress has the power to fund, the sciences and the useful arts, or to define patents to promote the sciences and the useful arts. And something about that has bugged me for years because I have this mentality where I'm like, what is a non-useful art?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a non-useful art. That feels like an accommodation that somebody threw in there when they wanted to say, hey, and we should make it so that the government can, take measures to encourage artists and protect the arts. And they were like, the arts, whatever. And they were like, okay, what about the useful arts? Yeah, okay.
And
about engineering.
Too enchanted with the bullshit arts.
The bullshit arts. Well, it's like
I'm a painter, and to some extent, I don't think that's that useful. It's pretty, but I don't know if pretty is useful. Pretty is good.
But you think about the thing is,
I don't think everything has to be useful.
It takes something subjective and create and allows somebody else to see it. People talk about, subjective experiences is individual to the person. Art is the mechanism whereby your subjective point of view can be available to somebody else. And in that regard, because you get to see inside another person, inside their point of view. And so in that regard, it helps us get to know you and maybe get to know ourselves.
So it's largely in snatches. It's largely in snatches because most of it is personal. That's a huge theme in writing and art, in all arts, that once you've put it out there, it's the audience's now. There's not as much that you contribute to it.
Yeah.
I want to take a different approach to this, which is to think about who wrote this. And that's, you've got basically bourgeois white guys who were trained in law and, politics and things. But to their credit, I think they realized that there are buildings, that were constructed. I think that they all had an appreciation of art, but maybe what they had in mind was the kind of art collections of the European kings. And the monarchy, who would use public funds to, get massive tapestries. So maybe when it was a reflection of, 18th century young democratic fervor. And by using useful arts, it doesn't mean to say that you wouldn't have a mural on a wall in a Capitol building. You know, I think that was probably within their remit. But yeah, it might have just been a reflection of their value system.
That's a really good point, and I have to remember that at the point that the Constitution was written, public art as we know it didn't really exist. I mean, there was art in public that people could see, but it always was you know, a private ownership kind of thing. It belonged to somebody. There wasn't really as much of the, you know, like art that belonged to the community, a public piece of sculpture or a museum that everybody could go to.
There's a big disconnect too in the fight of defunding arts and liberal arts also in schools, in public schools, have to fight. But the most exclusive, the most expensive universities in the U.S. are liberal arts schools because
to be honest, you don't learn how to be an artist in school.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's one of the things I'm very
art school is the most pretentious thing in existence ever. Some people have the pretension to teach other people how to make art. So okay, share your skills because some art forms require skills, but other than that, you can't teach artistry.
Well, what I mean, what I was getting, or what the idea is, liberal arts is it's teaching you the culture, and from knowing the culture, you know how to lead people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Speak to people.
The liberal arts, like the dark arts. It's the liberal arts.
Oh, that's how we can get them. Defense against the liberal arts.
One of the things that I'm really proudest about, and I've probably mentioned this before as it comes to the whole issue of arts and communicating them, is the fact that ever since the Cleveland Orchestra was established, one of their big focuses, or foci, if you will, has been reach out to the community. I mean, they bring school kids in from all over Cuyahoga County, and I think the adjoining counties as well, for, you know, children's concerts. They also regularly do something down at Public Square, usually every July the 4th. And it's something that's been a part of them literally for the last 100 years, because this year is the 100th year of the Cleveland Orchestra.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. It gives so much to the community. It enriches so many people's lives. You know what I mean? And like, it's funny we're talking about this because I did a video that hasn't been published yet. I think it comes out week after next. A 5 things video about public broadcasting in the United States. And when you look at how little it costs compared to other stuff we spend money on, it really is pathetic that anybody complains about it. I mean, when you like the entirety of the federal endowment to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is less than the amount of money that the federal government pays per year to keep up unused office space. All right.
Yeah, it's this, you know, it's the usual joke. I mean, we spend 0.5% on the space program, and just piddling pieces here and there, and yet the Republicans will go after it because it promotes liberal opinions, which tend to, you know, fly in their faces and piss them off.
Yeah. Well, and there's this mentality among a lot of conservative people, certainly not everybody, but it's close to being a party line that, well, yeah, art is nice, but it's kind of a waste. It's kind of it's an extravagance, you know, like we should be teaching people how to go get jobs, and we should be teaching people, you know, how to learn useful skills. And it's like, and that's very important. You know, I would never say, no, don't teach people skills like that's, but you know, if you don't have art, if you don't have creative expression, if you don't have, you know, painting and sculpture and movies and literature, like, and music, what the hell is the point of all this? Like, what are we even doing here?
There's more to your life than the 9 to 5.
Yeah, it sounds cliche, but that stuff really enriches life and kind of makes it worth living, you know?
I need to precise what I was saying earlier, because when I say painting, for example, is not useful, my point is stuff doesn't have to be useful. Right. I don't like that idea that if you're not useful, or if what you do isn't useful in the very strict sense of the term, it's worthless. That's why ableism still exists, by the way.
Maybe it's
because we are not useful.
Maybe it's not useful, but can it be inspiring? Can it?
Oh, of course it is.
Communicate and stimulate? I mean, I can't draw to save my life. I can draft because I was trained as an engineer, and I can draft and I can make drawings and schematics and all like that. But I mean, I can no more sketch or do. I don't even doodle because I'm lousy at it. And I just about give my right arm to be able to, and hell, I'd sketch with my left if I had to.
Yeah, something can be quite valuable without being like useful in like a productive, like capitalist sense, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah.
You know, and think about, I mean, even something like architecture. I mean, you take a look at buildings. You take, Frank Lloyd Wright and all that he did. Some of these marvelous, structures that he and other creative architects have built that are both functional, but are also have an artistic sense. And some of them, like if you ever want to have a genuine nightmare, take a look at the law building over at Case Western Reserve University. But then you can turn around and say, well, what about the Walt Disney Performance Center, where is it Los Angeles that plays there? I think it is. But that's an amazing building.
Yeah, and I mean, it's
the Opera House in what's-a-scratch in Sydney.
In Sydney, yeah. Well, and I remember. From the 60s through the 80s in Major League Baseball, the trend was away from distinctive ballparks with, their own personalities and toward multi-use facilities that you could play baseball and you could play football and, you could use them for multiple things. And they all looked the same. They all had the same sort of circular footprint, and they all, you couldn't tell one from another. You know what I mean? You couldn't pick them from each other out of a police lineup.
And they're all made out of tiki-taki, and they all look just the same.
They all look just the same. Exactly. Exactly. And then in the 90s, when they built Jacobs Field and Camden Yards in Baltimore, and people loved it. They were like, hey, this is great. Then it changed back into, let's make ballparks that have personality, that reflect their community, that are, you could play something other than baseball there, but why would you want to? It was designed specifically for this one thing. And it's a beautiful piece of architecture, and in addition to being just a useful, functional space. And I think everybody likes that better. Like, there's something depressing about a building that is built just for functionality and doesn't have any sort of aesthetic quality at all.
Those ballparks are so beautiful that like people travel around the country just to go to each one of them and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's
and once it caught on, they started. I mean, there were still ballparks of the old way that were still perfectly fine that they abandoned so they could build beautiful new ones. Everybody wanted.
My dad is an architect. My dad is an architect, or at least he was. He hasn't been able to for many years. But he's like the least practical person on earth. And he was essentially used by his bosses, but the buildings that he has designed in Boise here, I can see his influence in other buildings. Like I can see things that I believe that he would have put on those buildings in other buildings made by people he worked with.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was going to say that YouTube channel, the School of Life, they got a lot of like woo-woo kind of new agey crap, but they have a great series on like whenever they talk about like architecture and like urban sort of planning, how to design cities and stuff. A lot of those videos are like really cool. I think they have a lot of good stuff to say on that.
Yeah, that's a really interesting. It's one of those subjects that like I don't generally think of myself as being interested in it, but yeah, I could like watch one of those videos and be like, oh, this is really cool. Like, this is really interesting, because there's so much that you don't consider, that goes into something like that.
It's amazing. It's amazing how subtle it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's amazing how subtle the effect it is. Subtle an effect it has on your emotions, just being in a well-designed room versus one that's not designed. If you're not paying attention, you don't notice it, but you do notice it.
Yeah, it's kind of like good cinematography in a movie. You know, a lot of times it's so good you don't even notice it.
It shouldn't draw attention to itself. You should just
exactly.
Were you going to say something, Christy?
Sorry, Christy.
Yeah, that the School of Life. You talked about the woo woo, and I subscribed to them, and then the guy did a video about dick pics and why guys send dick pics, and at no point did he say, you know, like, you shouldn't send a dick pic to anyone unless they ask you to. And it's like, well, you know, why do guys do this? And, you know, if you're going to send a picture, and like, then I unsubscribed. I'm like, and I left a comment as well, but it was just so focused on the guy's perspective and nothing about the impact that getting a dick pic without it being requested has on people. It's like flashing people digitally.
A lot of their videos on sex stuff are just weird.
Like, would you like it if someone sent you a dick pic? Just think about that.
I'm gonna have my hangout at 10 minutes after the top of the hour, so I'm gonna need to get going, guys. But it's great.
I'm going to go too because I give a talk on French social security on Christie's Hangout. So
cool.
Yeah, it's happening 10 minutes after this one ends.
Okay, so everybody who's a patron of Christie's, go right over there.
I just sit here to pitch my own hangouts. That's why I come on.
I'm happy to let you do it.
I'm joking. It was good to talk to you guys.
You have the most awesome pajamas ever.
Thanks, Christy.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, little Christy. See you in the next hangout.
Yeah.
I'll have to drop soon also. I don't have much insight beyond the 15th century anyway.
Well, that still covers a lot of ground, right? I mean, that's still 15 good solid centuries you got there.
Like, so technically there was no beginning of time, so that is an infinity.
So who else has been watching the new season of Stranger Things? Anybody
I am.
Oh, it's out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out yesterday.
I have 2 episodes to go.
All right.
It's all out? There's the whole... Oh, Jesus Christ.
Whole season.
Yeah, I've been avoiding significant
Netflix
chunks
does
of the
that.
internet.
The things are back, and this time they're even strangerer.
Strangerer?
Yeah. Stranger things.
In the 3rd season, Strangest Things.
Yeah, there you go.
No, Strangerest.
Strangerest. You won't even believe how much stranger they are now.
Shit, you thought the things were strange last season. Fuck, man. This time, even stranger.
The only
so strange.
The only Netflix series that I was kind of disappointed in was Hemlock Grove. I loved the first season. By the second season was intriguing, but they began to jump the shark, and then in the 3rd season, what?
I hate when that happens with a show.
Yeah,
it starts out great and then just fizzles out.
Yeah.
In anime, we know that it's like the show pulled a Evangelion, but that's where it's like a very specific, like it was kind of interesting, and then just went completely off the rails.
Don't you say nothing about Evangelion. I fucking love that show.
I like a show. I like that show too. I'm going to rewatch it. It's one of the shows I have to rewatch, and I'm going to watch the movies because I think I like it. It was one of the first animes that I saw when we were starting to get into animes. I saw it on VHS.
So don't fuck with me.
I'm gonna get in my giant biologically engineered mom and
You know, I don't watch a lot of anime, just like the basic stuff, like Attack on Titan or whatever. I feel like if I got like really into anime at my age now, it'd just be weird. Like I'm 25, like I feel like at that point, you know.
I'm 33 and I'm just weird anyway.
I'm 37 and I cannot shake the weird ghost.
Embrace the weird. Be one of the Stranger Things, man.
Exactly.
There you go.
I'm 66 and my focus is still on Speed Racer and you know I mean that's my extent. I mean I can remember seeing I've seen Hallows Moving Castle and a couple of
That's a good movie.
Oh, it's a wonderful movie.
I'm gonna see Hallows Moving Castle in the theaters next month. Phantom Events and G Kids is doing like a Studio Ghibli Fest, and like this like tomorrow or something like that, it's gonna be Spirited Away, and then next month they're gonna have like Hallows Moving Castle in the theaters across the country. So I'm gonna like see Hallows Moving Castle in theaters.
Man, I love me some Ghibli. That's almost like its own category, you know. It gets technically anime, but it's like, you know, I feel a lot of people, I think, like Ghibli stuff and not like any other anime.
Well, because it gets a much wider release than most other anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
And there will be new movies soon.
Have any of you anime fans seen Unico and the Isle of Magic? That's just like an.
I love that movie. I remember watching it when I was 3. Only 2 scenes. Yes. Is out on DVD? Discotech. Yes, Discotech Media. They release both Unico and the Magic Island Magic and Unico's Fantastic Adventures. Fantastic Adventures is not as good, but both of them are out on DVD. You can probably get a DVD pack, and there's a cool extra where there's like an unreleased short that was released and stuff like that. But I love Island of Magic because the one thing I remember when I was 3 years old was the girl's parents. This happens in the beginning, so I'm not spoiling. The girl's parents get transformed into stone golems and start walking independent of themselves. That gave me nightmares as a kid. But that movie is so good. Yes, I remember that.
That's my most favorite villain ever.
You know, I watched a great anime movie the other day called Your Name. I think it's like a huge thing in Japan right now.
Yes, okay.
Oh dear.
Yes, I saw that in theaters too. Michael Toshinsky does great work. If you've seen 5 centimeters per second, Your Name is better than 5 centimeters per second, and it's going to come out it's going to be released on DVD by Funimation next month, and I already pre-ordered and stuff like that. So yeah, I love Your Name. More people should see Your Name. Okay, that's like if you're going to mention more anime, you're going to get me excited.
Well, you're going to an anime con like at the moment, so
I like how it has a short, simple, straightforward title. You know, Your Name instead of something like Uni Kimi and the Planet of 1,000 Suns or something. They have these weird names.
Something should have that title now, though.
Yeah,
I'm surprised Planet of 1,000 Suns that's actually a really cool title for something.
Steve, getting back to ordinary cinema, have you seen Wind River?
No, I haven't.
My wife and I saw it when we were down in Cincinnati and having our stay / anniversary. It's basically set in an Indian reservation, and it deals with apparently what I was unaware of until I saw this movie, a serious issue, which is missing Indian women.
Okay.
And it's the focal character is I can't remember the woman who stars with Renner, but Jeremy Renner is this guy who's I guess I don't know if he's a sheriff or exactly. He's a tracker / hunter, and he's really good in it. And it's something to look for.
I have to remember that. That sounds interesting.
It seems like Jeremy Renner's in everything these days.
His stock has come up big time. And thinking about that and just sort of cross-referencing to, having seen all the way and God, what's his name as LBJ now? Woody Harrelson is doing an LBJ, and I just saw the trailer for that, and it looks very promising.
Yeah, he looks a lot like LBJ. The makeup is really fantastic.
But then, what was the name? I can't think of the guy's name who did All the Way, and who did LBJ in that particular movie. But I mean, I loved what he brought to it. The HBO thing, and of course, I also saw that down at God, I think it was at the Ohio Theater when it was at the Ohio when they did that, and that was a killer play, and I thought it was a damn good film too.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either.
Most people know him from The Avengers, but I think the first thing I saw Jeremy Renner in was a movie from like 2002 or something where he played Jeffrey Dahmer. It was a pretty weird movie. It was cool.
I remember him. He was a guest star on an episode of House. He played
a musician.
A musician, yeah. He played a rock star who had he had been like a classical musician, and then he became a punk musician because like he lost his knack for melody. And it was, and there was some kind of like House diagnosed him with something, and he was like, "It's that's the key to all your problems." And you know, because it was House, and that's the way it works. But
Steve,
yeah.
Planet of a Thousand Suns. Imagine a rogue planet with some rudimentary life support systems installed. It's traveling through the Magellanic Cloud.
Ooh. Hey, now you've cracked
Magellanic Cloud. What is that? Sounds cool.
It's one of the nascent, like,
it's a star nursery, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a baby galaxy that's associated with the Milky Way.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Milky Way has a couple of smaller satellite galaxies.
Okay, so it's kind of
the small Magellanic Cloud and the large Magellanic Cloud.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I didn't know about that until I was like 25. I was like, our galaxy has satellites?
Learn something new every day.
Yeah. Wow. Somebody should... Planet of a Thousand Suns. That's such a cool title. Okay, so speaking of Netflix shows that are disappointing, I'll just mention this right at the end here.
Quite a few of those.
I tried to watch Mindhunter, and I couldn't make it past 2 episodes. And I know a lot of people are watching Mindhunter and they think it's great. I couldn't make it past 2 episodes. I found it so bad, and it's one of those things where like the reviews it's getting are so good from critics and from just people that I know that I generally trust and agree with, and I'm just like, what am I missing here? Like, there's parts of apparently it gets better as it goes on, but I don't know if I'm willing to make that commitment. Like, it's just so fucking terrible in the first two episodes, and I'm just like, what is the fucking, does it get like way better? Because
a lot of anime fans have like a 1 episode test, and some of them will have like a 10 minutes test. If this anime doesn't like it hook me into like 10 minutes or 1 episode, so I'm not going to bother. Yet I would say no, stick it out until like past episode 5 of Princess Tutu. Trust me, it gets better. But yet some people are just like, no, I don't want to watch Princess Tutu. Then again, by the title, they're like, Princess Tutu? But no, I swear it's a good show. Kid friendly too, and my mom loves it. But
I remember, I know that in every writing class I've ever taken, every fiction writing class I've ever taken, and I've taken a few, one of the first lessons is start strong. Whether you're writing a short story or a novel or a screenplay or whatever, start strong, because if you don't hook the audience in the first couple of pages or the first couple of minutes, then you're never going to have them. They're just going to be like, oh God. And it feels like with Mindhunter, like the first episode was just like, Jesus Christ, like what is, like I have no idea who the main character is. I don't know what he wants. I don't know what he cares about. I don't know what his goal is. And
hunting minds. That's obvious.
It's hunting minds, exactly. Actually, there's going to be oh, bye, Matthew. Yeah, I'm going to wrap up here in a minute, just in case anybody wants to go jump on the Christie's thing. Yeah, there's a joke about Mindhunter in the next Steve and Stuffy video. In fact, when I thought of it, I started writing the next script like right then. I was like, I don't want to forget this. So there's a Mindhunter joke at the beginning of the next Steve and Stuffy, because I just had to get it out somehow.
Tapping into real life, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And it's basically just what I just said to you all. It was me watching it on the couch and going, how is this good?
Is this shit? Pardon my crossing back sort of a little bit, but is anybody here following Mr. Robot?
Nope.
Yeah, I've never watched it, but I hear that it's great.
Yeah, I mean, you may have heard that from me, because I mean, the last time I brought it up, I had seen a couple of episodes, and I went through the first season. It was good, and then the second season wasn't available, and unless I wanted to spend money on it, which I'm a cheap bastard, so I didn't. I just finally picked up the first episode of season 2, and it seems like it's holding up. But I guess, I guess I'm just not that well traveled in TV anymore. There's a couple of things I watch on network, and that I've been sort of half following The Deuce, which is okay, but it's not that great on HBO.
Yeah.
I don't know. I suppose I've become old and jaded in my old age.
Well, I miss a lot of stuff too. There's a lot of stuff that I hear is great that I just haven't had time to watch, and I have to prioritize. Like I carve out space for Star Trek Discovery, because that's non-negotiable. But everything else is just sort of, oh yeah, okay, I'll watch that if I.
Oh, wait, hey Steve, I really wanted to know that the dialogue at the very beginning of the first episode of Star Trek Discovery, did that not sound kind of fanficky to you?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, but they went out of it really quick though.
A lot of the dialogue so far, unfortunately, is kind of seemed that way.
Some of it has been like, oh, did they really say that? And then, but some of it has been really good though. There was a line that Burnham had in the episode before the last one where she's about to like tell off Stamets for something, and then she stops herself, and Stamets is like, "What are you doing?" And she says, "I am swallowing the urge to set the record straight."
That's a great line.
Yeah,
that is a terrific line.
She says it so perfectly. All right, so I'm gonna cut this off. We're at the 1 p.m. mark in my time zone anyway. So thanks to everybody who joined me, all of you who are still here, all of you who were here earlier. Thanks to everybody for watching. This is one of my special things that I do as a part of my Patreon campaign, just to sort of say thank you to the kind folks who are kind enough to support me in what I do on this YouTube channel. So if you like what I do and you would like to join the Patreon campaign and maybe take part in one of these one day, you can go to patreon.com/Steve Shives to become a patron. Thanks to all of you for being here. Thanks to all of you for watching, and we'll see you next month.